We begin with the soaring ties between India and Russia. In a key push to further strengthen relations, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, visited Moscow. He held talks with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. The high-level engagement was aimed at reinforcing the strategic partnership between the two nations. And the talks also focused on regional and other global issues.
We reaffirmed our shared ambition to expand bilateral trade in a balanced and sustainable manner, including by increasing India's exports to Russia. This requires swiftly addressing non-tariff barriers and regulatory impediments, enhancing Indian exports to Russia and sectors like pharmaceuticals, agriculture and textiles will certainly help to correct the current imbalance. Steps to ensure long-term supply of fertilizers was also taken up. Indian skilled workers, especially in IT, construction and engineering, can address the labor needs in Russia and deepen collaboration.
We have good results in cooperation in the sphere of hydrocarbons and the supply of Russian oil to the Indian market, and we have a mutual interest in implementing joint projects for the extraction of energy resources, including in the Russian Federation, in the Far East and on the Arctic shelf.
Jaishankar also conveyed India's strong resolve against terrorism.
On terrorism, we resolved to fight jointly against all forms and manifestations of terrorism. I conveyed India's strong resolve to adopt a zero-tolerance policy against terrorism and our sovereign right to defend our citizens against cross-border terrorism. I also invited the Minister to pay a visit to India to continue our dialogue.
Before meeting Lavrov, Jaishankar met with Russia's First Deputy Prime Minister, Denis Manturov. The talks were held under the framework of a key bilateral body that oversees economic relations between the two nations. Jaishankar emphasized diversifying and expanding their cooperation through more joint ventures. He also urged Russian companies to engage more intensively with Indian partners.
So allow me to conclude by recalling that the IRIGC is a key mechanism to prepare for the annual summit, which we expect to hold at the end of this year.
The Indian leader's bilateral push has set the ground for Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to India later this year. The announcement of Putin's visit came at a time when India's ties with the US have turned sour. Now, this is due to US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. The Trump administration has levied 50% tariffs on Indian imports, one of the highest rates in the world. The White House recently said it was to put secondary pressure on Russia to end the Ukraine war. But the tariff time bomb is ticking. US tariffs on India are set to take effect from the 27th of August. And to counter Trump's tariff threat, India and Russia are accelerating rupee-ruble trade mechanisms. The aim is to bypass American financial dominance. The push for a non-dollar payment system also reflects a broader BRICS momentum. Now, its members are now seeking to cut dependence on the US dollar, and it is gaining pace. With tariff, trade wars and BRICS realignment in play, the focus still comes back to what's unfolding in Moscow. And through it all, the main picture is this: Jaishankar and Lavrov standing tall side by side, signaling that India and Russia's ties remain steady even in an unsteady world.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube: English,
$36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Skali radikali.
Japanese,
4兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.